Hello, Tyson, man. Happy birthday, Tys, for the other day.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's
you old bastard.
Oh, mate.
Jeez, you're looking good.
Oh, look, I try. I moisturise regularly. You got to do what you got to do, man.
Exactly.
Time catches up with you.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Got to get that good stuff now.
That's it. Got to hold on to it while it lasts. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 154 of Nick Tys and Videotape. We're very excited today. We're talking this is the third time we've dipped into this franchise. I had completely forgotten that we'd done an episode on the third movie in this series.
The third movie, yeah, that's true.
But we are doing today... Yeah, we've done it in weird order. 3-1-2. Yep. We are doing Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
Which was kind of my choice because it's probably in my top 5 movies of all time. And I thought, well, what a fun way to spend my birthday than actually getting to rewatch Terminator 2 again. Even though I didn't watch it on my birthday in the end.
Damn.
Look, it was all right. Oh, I just peaked like crazy then. That was fun. Yeah, no, it was. I had a very enjoyable birthday, which resulted in not having the time to actually watch Terminator 2. But
because you were busy doing other fun things.
Oh yeah, as fun as can be expected in our current situation, Nicholas.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it was a lovely day, and I always enjoy revisiting my favourite movies around this time of year. I think it's kind of a bit of a treat.
Oh yeah.
So I'm very excited to be talking Terminator 2 with you, Nicholas.
Nice.
Why don't you tell the people at home where they can find our show?
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. You can subscribe to our lovely show, which is Nick Tys and Videotape. My name is Nick. This is my good friend Tyson.
Hey,
we are Australian. We love movies.
We do.
For those overseas listeners, of which we have a few, that's it really. We talk films. We talk some films. We talk trailers. We talk franchises. What else do we talk about? We're going to be talking about horror movies soon.
Oh, wow.
Then Christmas
you're right.
movies.
God, it's creeping up.
I know. It's around the corner. But yes, if you do like our show, please rate, review, like, subscribe, all of those lovely things, wherever you're listening to the podcast. Other than that, you can follow Nick Tys and Videotape on any social media platform, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are on YouTube for those people who like to listen to podcasts on YouTube, like my brother, you weirdo. And other than that, if Tyson and myself are big fans of the Letterboxd app, so if you wish to know how did Tyson give it a 4.5 stars, or did he go the flat out 5 stars for Terminator 2? You won't know until you like him or follow him on Letterboxd. So to do that, you would look him up on the Letterboxd app, which is a great app for movie lovers. And you would look him up by typing in TYS_videotape. And you would look me up if you want to find out what I rated it, is NIC_videotape. So there
That's
you go.
it, Nicholas. Very good. So we might start the show with a segment that we usually start with, except this time we're going to use a trailer that we were going to talk about last week and then decided to delay. And lucky we did, because we would have had nothing to talk about if we didn't.
That's true.
But let's talk some trailers.
Let's do that.
Everybody's talking
Trailers. So here we are, Nick. This is the reason why I wanted to talk about this one, because we did talk about whether or not just to give it a miss for the week, is that I have a bit of an affinity for these directors. And this film I'm very excited because it's their first kind of foray into proper stars and a bit bigger budget, and it's going to be a bit more widely seen. And this movie is called, Nick?
Why do you always throw it to me? Fucking hell, I'm trying
exactly
to look it
for
up.
this moment. That's why.
Synchronic.
Synchronic.
You know, they say we see everything once in this game. Pretty sure we've never seen this.
They think they need help.
You all right?
I'm fine. The bad news is it's inoperable and never start your radiation immediately.
I'm fine. What's going on with you?
I want to know
that there's meaning in the things I do. If you're watching this, I'm probably trying to convince you of something pretty unbelievable, or I'm dead.
I'd do anything to get her back, but the next dose could kill you.
There are things that are far worse than death. What happened to him?
They're not returning.
It's gotta be me.
You can't deal with reality.
Yeah, the clock keeps ticking down. The time is an illusion.
Very good, Nicholas. Synchronic or synchronic or
Synchronic
or synchronic,
synchronic, or all of the above.
or all or any of the above would do, I'm sure.
Exactly.
But we have Benson and Moorhead, who are a directing duo who have done 3 movies that I really enjoy to varying degrees.
Okay.
And they working with really low budgets. In one of their films, the two of them star themselves. They've worked their way up from really, really micro budget, and then slowly gained a little bit more following with each film and a little bit more notoriety. And now they're it feels like they're playing in the big leagues a little bit, which is really interesting.
Nice.
And with Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan joining the cast, and obviously a very ambitious concept. Have you seen any of their films, Nick?
No, I haven't. I was just looking them up just then. No, I haven't seen any. I've heard good things about Spring. That's all I know.
Spring might have been my doing, because I think it was a runner-up in my top 10 of 2014. It might have even been on the list, on my 2014 list.
Okay.
Because it's a really, really interesting kind of horror romance movie. And this is what they do really well, is they play with genres, and they kind of, you go in expecting one thing and you come out of the other side kind of like surprised.
What the hell was that?
What the hell was that? And how come I didn't see this coming? And how they blend these genres together is really quite effective as well, because you don't ever feel like. They seem to find these little niches that you kind of are like, why didn't I think of that earlier? Why didn't I realize that would work really well? So their first film, Resolution, is like about a guy who's a serious druggie, who his best mate, who they've drifted apart, but he goes basically to his little drug cabin where he's just letting his life fall away from him, and forces him into detox.
Okay.
And then shit goes wild, like a horror movie. So it's that really interesting kind of like clash of what do you do when you have somebody who's clearly mentally unstable because of these circumstances, and throw a horror movie, a horror sci-fi concept to that. What do you end up with? Similar with Spring, it's like a romantic travelogue movie, but what if it becomes a monster sci-fi horror movie halfway through? And then with their third film, The Endless, it's this weird kind of cult thriller, something along the lines of Midsummer or, Wicker Man, with a really crazy sci-fi horror tilt to it as well. So they're really interesting filmmakers. And I as much as you can kind of see, they're the perfect example of when you can see past the limitations of budget. And just be like, wow, there's so much creativity here. So, I'm pretty pumped, because it looks like they've got some money to play with now.
Nice. It does look... It does look like that now that you've said from the trailer. it just kind of mashes two subjects together because you've got obviously a guy who's dealing with the loss of a loved one or something like that, and from there it goes into a drug kind of sci-fi-esque type situation.
Yeah,
you just really don't know what's going on.
Well, that's it, and the trailer doesn't. Oh shit! The trailer doesn't really give much away. But I think what I'm gathering, and I try to kind of, I do tend to not want to know too much about their stuff. I'll read a basic synopsis and then just leave it there. But yeah, from what I can gather, it's a police procedural that ends up kind of going the way of a weird, drug trip sci-fi kind of alternate dimensions kind of vibe. Whereas this drug that maybe he's been recommended as a treatment for his tumor ends up opening all these doors to alternate dimensions or something.
Yeah,
I guess.
something along those lines. It's a little Black Mirror-ish.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe very much so.
Getting that vibe. Yeah, with a little bit more of a serious tone, though. I know Black Mirror doesn't sit on the side of, funny or whatever. It takes itself quite seriously as well. But this is a little bit more so, especially with his partner. You've got, what is 50 Shades guy's name?
Jamie Dornan.
Doran, and Anthony Mackie, who's the one who's taking those drugs. So you can, the scenes that you see them in this trailer, you're getting, there's a lot of heaviness, a lot of tension there. And it looks really interesting. When I saw it last week, I was like, Jesus, that was kind of a lot to unpack in a trailer. And you can, and you're like, oh, I don't know whether I watch that. But to be honest, that's something that I would definitely watch, seek out something like that, because it's going to be a little bit, it's going to be different and something you haven't seen before, or something like you said, where you're on one track and it literally kicks you off and chucks you on another.
Yeah, look, I can't imagine it will be anything we've seen before. They tend to do that pretty well. Is that at least if nothing else, the originality in their stuff is at the forefront, and that's really exciting. I don't know whether or not I think this is a particularly good trailer, because I think if I didn't know the filmmakers, I'd probably be a little bit more kind of like, this is nonsense.
But I like to seek these ones out, because it's movies like this that is hard to market. So you've got to take your hats off to the filmmakers to put it out anyway. They've busted their ass, got this money together, they've shot this thing, and they'll go to the studio and say, here's the movie, how the fuck do we market this? And they put together a trailer which sometimes has nothing to do with the movie at all, and hopefully people will see it. So I really, it's a hard movie. It'd be a hard movie to kind of put into a trailer sort of thing.
Well, yeah, and I think what's really hard about that as well is that these two guys have a little bit of notoriety now, but it's not a big, it's pretty small, a small following at this stage. Like it's on the indie stage at this moment. It's not, they haven't crossed over yet. So they wanted to make a bunch of money, but they've also got to appeal to its core audience, which are the indie horror kind of fans. So they're kind of caught in the middle, where it's like, oh, we want to make it like this big crazy sci-fi. Hey, have you seen Inception? This will blow your mind kind of thing with the sci-fi action. But then they've got to appeal to what sold it in the first place, which is these indie horror directors. So, they're kind of caught right in the middle. And I'm not certain this trailer did it any favors to really.
Yeah, it's hard. It'd be hard to cut a trailer together. I think, I don't know why. The directors who have say over, I guess all directors do, maybe I don't really know the industry that well, but directors who have say on what's in the trailer or what is shown, like we've spoken about it before, that a trailer that gets cut from fresh footage that has absolutely nothing or doesn't show anything at all from the movie are my favourite type of trailers.
Yeah.
The time that's taken to tell just a quick short story or something really quick and small, and this is going to be what the movie's about, or this is a little corner of what the universe that we're putting this movie in. Mm-hmm. Like, I think this movie would have maybe benefited from something like that in this situation.
I get what you're saying. Maybe a scene that kind of played out more just straightforward to give us an indication of you might be right about that. That might have worked a little bit better. Also, or alternatively, even in the other direction completely, and gone like the the new metal kind of cover of some pop song, and like try and make it look like a big Hollywood production, even though it's not. Like,
sure,
I feel like it's it's stuck a little bit in no man's land as a trailer at the moment.
It was a bit weird. Over the shop.
Yeah, which isn't going to stop me from seeing it at all. I'm all over it. I think, now that I've seen all three of their films, and I actually started with their most recent, which was probably the wrong way to go about it. But now that I have seen all of them, I will be following these guys for sure. Whatever they do, it's kind of like I'm on board. So nice. I'm really keen to see how this one turns out. And I love Anthony Mackie. He seems like just one of the nicest guys ever, doesn't he?
He does. He's very good. I'm a big fan. Jamie Dorian, on the other hand, who full pass. I don't know who I do.
I haven't seen any of the 50 Shades things.
But you're not going to, as if you're going to.
No, they're not for me.
He was in the new Robin Hood.
Yeah, I watched about 10 minutes of that, and
did you?
Or I know, I'll be fair, maybe half an hour of that. Yeah. So I gave that a good crack. But
I
didn't get too far through it. But I haven't seen much of him, to be honest, and so I can't really. He seems like the kind of guy like that would probably do okay. He's probably had a reasonably strong British, heritage. And he just kind of, he did what most of us would do. He took a really high profile gig, and it's kind of bitten him on the ass now because everyone will remember him as, the Mr. Grey or whatever.
Mr. Grey or whatever his name is,
And now he has to break free of the shackles of that.
Keep trying, man. Do a serious TV series or something like that. Get some.
Well, this is this is the way to go about it. Small scale, low budget horror, sci-fi.
Exactly.
He's probably on the right track.
He'll get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Should we move on to our feature prez, Nicholas?
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah, I like it. Nice and early this week. It's good.
Yeah, I like it.
And now for our feature presentation.
Same make.
These were taken at the West Highland Police Station, 1984. You were there.
Same model.
These were taken today.
You have to let me see my son. He's in great danger.
New mission. Once he was programmed to destroy the future.
You don't know what it's like to try to kill one of these things.
Now his mission.
Get down.
Is to protect it.
Come with me if you want to live.
You're really real.
His loyalty is to a child.
Who sent you?
You did. 35 years from now.
And his enemy.
He's a Terminator like you, right?
Not like me.
Is the deadliest machine ever built.
Can it be destroyed?
Unknown.
This time, there are two. Terminator 2.
You just can't go around killing people.
Why?
If you thought you had seen it all, look again.
Stay down!
Go! Now!
We gotta stick together!
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. This time, he's back. For good.
Trust me.
All right, Nicholas.
Oh, Tyson.
So, Nicola, this might be whether or not it is my favourite movie of all time is kind of up for discussion. But I can almost say with full confidence that this is the movie I have seen most in my life.
Most,
yes,
right. Oh,
because I've had a VHS copy of this since before I can remember. Sitting at home, and it was a constant watch as a kid because it was just so easy to put on a Saturday afternoon. 13, 14 years old. And what else are you going to do on a Saturday if, your mates are busy,
Please.
It's like you tried to organise to go and, play video games or something and it didn't happen, so you're stuck at home. What are you going to do? You're going to watch Terminator 2.
Terminator 2. You're going to watch Terminator 2. Your brother's hogging the Mega Drive on the little TV in the bedroom. It was always a little TV.
Yeah.
Little TV in the bedroom. He's playing fucking Altered Beast. What are you doing? You're going to watch Terminator 2. That's what you're going to do.
Beast. Yeah. I used to have an Atari Lynx.
Oh, man.
So I was like the only person in the world that actually bought one of those.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you are the only person I now know that had one of them.
I would love...
I had the 2600. I had the Atari 2600.
Ah, cool.
But that was it. Went from Atari at 2600 to Mega Drive, Sega Mega Drive.
Yeah.
I owned a Game Boy for like about a month.
Oh, wow.
Just a month. I bought it off. I bought it from a friend and then realized I'm not going to fucking play this, and then gave it away. Should have kept it. It was one of the thick ones that see through.
No, that would cost.
Gave it away.
You would get a fortune for that now.
I know. He gave me like 10 games too for fucking $50. All of that for $50. And then it was PlayStation in front.
Just on a side note, I rue the day that I sold my original Nintendo system to some guy on the Trading Post.
Oh, the Trading Post! I had a best friend who used to fucking just churn out the Trading Post. He loved it.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, Gumtree's kind of killed it now, but I think I sold the original system and about 8 to 10 games for, I reckon, about $115.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No, look, but that would be worth a fortune. We're talking original copies of Super Mario 3 and Castlevania and stuff
what are you doing, man?
I know. Because fucking 14-year-old me wanted pocket change and I want to smack that kid in the back of the head.
Yeah. And you know what he did? He got fired. He kept the money and then just 5 weeklies for $5 for like fucking 6 months. And you're like, fuck it.
Yeah.
You idiot.
No, he spent it all on fucking Tarzos or some shit.
Fuck! Not even Pogs. Tarzos. Jesus.
No, he just continuously bought bags of Doritos so he could get Tarzos. And then wondered why he became a fat kid.
Yeah.
Dear.
But look at my fucking Tarzos.
Yeah, but look at
like Tarzos. Shit, man.
I don't fit in my school pants anymore, but look at my Tarzo collection.
Look at my fucking Tarzo collection. God, that's gold. That is so gold.
Oh, dear. But yes, Nicholas. So,
Terminator 2.
Oh, God. We did,
this is a mission.
It is.
This was such a good... because I haven't watched this in a good long while, and those first... Tyson, you put it on... And it comes up with the production, the studio that makes it, right?
Carolco.
You get that highway scene and those first few bars that, and I'm like, oh, I am in. Like you are I am in. Like it has solved me from those bars.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's. Like every scene is kind of like embedded in my memory now, and it's like a part of my essence. Like if someone offered me $1 million to recreate a movie scene by scene, and I had to pick one movie and give it a go, I reckon I'd be hard pressed to go past this one because I think I'd give it a good crack. Like there'd be occasional bits. There's still occasional things that catch me off guard. Like I do forget how this movie starts sometimes.
Oh really?
Yeah, and. Because it starts kind of slow and quiet, and there's that little bit of voiceover. I tend to forget that moment, and if you had to ask me to choose when does it start, I would have thought it started with the slow-mo fire and the credits. That's the bit that I remember clearly.
Sure.
Just those little
exoskeleton coming out, like the imagery, man. Like that is intense. I love it.
Super intense.
So good.
So Nick, if I saw this before I saw the first Terminator. Were you in the same boat?
Okay. I'm going to say no.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to say no. I have no idea.
I
think Dad showed us. No, I think Dad showed us Terminator 1.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
In preparation for Terminator 2 coming out?
No. We were fans. Because what year was Predator?
87.
87, yeah. So we were big fans of Predator, and then Dad showed us Conan, Running Man, and then Terminator.
Nice.
And then we went from there, because then we found through our own thing Total Recall and all that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Terminator 2, I remember it coming out, It was big. It was everywhere. It even like featured on you can't really say this anymore. You can, but it's horrible. There was like a Hey Dad episode of where the family was going to see Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And what was the name of it? Nudge? Was it Nudge? The guy. And he kept going, whoever said Terminator 2, he would always go, Judgment Day. Like, I don't know why that is burned in my brain. Why is that burned in my brain?
No, I love that. That's fantastic.
That is horrible.
You're right. Because it did make let's not talk about him. Yeah. It did make an incredibly
it was huge.
Deep cultural impact.
Yeah.
And that's I think I was obviously a fan of Arnie before then, but I wouldn't say because we were still pretty young when this came out. We were like 8, 9.
Yeah.
And so. As much as I'd probably seen bits and pieces before then, I'd probably seen a bit of Predator before then, I would say, but this is the movie that cemented the Arnold Schwarzenegger fascination for sure, absolutely.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
because it's the first of his movies too that kind of bridged that gap. Oh no, that's not true because Twins was before this, wasn't it?
I have no idea. Was it? I thought Twins was Twins 80s or 90s?
I think Twins was 89, maybe even 90, or I might be thinking of Kindergarten Cop actually.
Kindergarten Cop. See, that got a massive run in our house.
Yeah, no, you're right. So this was kind of the beginning of the action element of Arnold Schwarzenegger. But then at the same time, I don't know how many of these I saw at the cinema. We've talked about this before. I have a pretty bad memory of what I saw in the cinema and what I didn't when I was a kid. My memory's not great.
Yeah. I didn't see any. I saw no Arnold Schwarzenegger movies at the cinema. The first Arnold Schwarzenegger movie I saw at the cinema was End of Days.
Wow.
And I think that's the only one. Yeah, I think that's it.
So, and that shows incredible memory to me. I know I saw.
Oh no! Hang on! No, I saw Terminator 3.
I think that was after End of Days, though.
And that should not count. Yeah, that was after. Yeah.
Do you know what I know I saw at the cinema? And I don't know why I remember this out of all the things. I saw Eraser at the cinema.
Oh,
I definitely saw that in the cinema. I don't know why.
Yeah, so Twins was 1988.
Wow.
And then Total Recall 90. Same as Kindergarten Cop was 90, and then 91 was T2. Yeah, I remember distinctly, we went to... our family went to visit friends of ours, and they always watched movies no matter what the movie was. My brother went to bed early or something like that, and Dad said, "We've got something special," but you're not allowed. It was always very much. It's quite violent, so he wanted to kind of be the parent and go, "Oi, no saying what they say," and you remember the blood isn't real, sort of thing.
Okay,
and we watched it, and Terminator 2. God, it was huge.
Don't pretend to don't try and be like Edward Norton.
Don't be
Edward Norton. Edward Furlong.
Edward Foyle.
Don't be like Edward Norton anyway, though.
Don't be like Edward Norton. Yeah.
Nice. I like that. I had it. Yeah, I had a VHS copy of it, like I was saying, and it got played. I think there was a small amount of time where we had 2 VCRs in our house. And so we did the old school play one VHS, record on the other through the telly.
Yeah,
we used to get, and something about, pirating was never more difficult back then than it was back then. These days, it is the easiest thing in the world. You end up with, you might as well not bother because the quality is so good. The only thing that stops you now is the moral kind of implications of it.
The fact that you're not giving the filmmakers money for hard work.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas back then, when you did the double VHS thing, you just had to deal with the fact that it was going to look pretty dodge. But I watched the shit out of that VHS and knowing full well, it had tracking problems. It probably had that little thing across the top where it was always the tops of their heads was a little bit to the side.
Just a little bit skewiffed.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
And I didn't care though, man. It was I could watch Terminator 2 whenever the hell I wanted. And it got played. I even today, rewatching it, I was amazed at how much of the dialogue just was embedded in me.
Verbatim.
Yeah.
Verbatim.
For sure.
I remember when DVDs were really big, starting to come out really big, and there was this word of the special editions, Terminator 2s, and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I sourced mine and got mine from overseas, and I couldn't wait. And for my birthday that year, I asked my parents for a multi-region DVD player. So I could play stuff from overseas and stuff like that, and how to it was the coolest thing a DVD has ever done ever. The fact that you had to punch into the keypad a specific number, and this extra menu would unlock.
That's right,
and it would show you the special editions, and you had to pick which one you wanted. Now, in retrospect, I didn't watch that. The other night, I watched the theatrical version, and to be honest, the theatrical version is perfect and beautiful. And to be honest, I probably won't watch those other ones anymore. They don't really add anything, and the footage of it is quite. You can tell that it's like, oh, we don't have a. This is clearly just was on the cutting room floor, and they've just chucked it back in.
Sure.
Without cleaning it.
Yeah, look, I watched the theatrical version too because I just streamed it through Stan. I have. Yeah, I think I've got 2 or 3 different copies of this on DVD. I haven't upgraded to Blu-ray yet. I don't know why. But I ended up going through and rewatching all the deleted scenes on YouTube just before we went online. And I think I've seen that extended edition as many times now as I probably saw the original one. So I didn't notice where they weren't. It wasn't like I was watching it going, hey, there's that bit there. But as I watched the deleted scenes, I was just like, oh yeah, okay. Oh yep, cool. Oh yeah, this bit. Yeah. And none of them really for me. I don't think any
really
of them
do anything.
Yeah, they're just small little elaborations on things, and because this movie is quite long, I'm kind of in two minds. I think it's already 2 and a bit hours, 2 hours 15. Yeah. What's another 5-6 minutes? No one's going to care. But and it does answer a couple of things. It just these little kind of these little nuggets that you're just kind of like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. But in having said that, it's not absolutely necessary in any way. It's not it's not like it's a lesser movie experience because we don't have them.
Yeah.
But little
Which
things.
one's your fave? Which one's your fave?
I think it's, funnily enough, I just think it's that moment where the T-1000 goes out and sees the dog.
Oh, really?
And then walks back through the house. I think that just...
And sees the name.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he does the... I don't know if this is in the extended edition or if this was just actually a deleted scene, but when he goes back into John's room and starts... putting his hands over stuff and... Oh,
that was a deleted scene.
Okay, cool. So I was watching this... Yeah, I must have seen it before because this is one of those DVDs that I have seen, like, every single special feature, like, trawled my way through it. Yeah. So I remembered it as I was watching it and I couldn't put my finger. I was like, I don't think this is in the extended cut, but maybe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he rubs his hands over John's room like he's reading information, and then he realizes that behind a poster there's a shoebox full of stuff from Sarah. And so he pulls off the poster and starts looking through.
And that's how he finds out who Sarah is.
Yeah, that's how he finds out that she's in the mental institution.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
Okay. I have 2. My favorite is the fact that when they're when she's pulling bullets out of him with pliers. Pliers. And he says that Skynet doesn't want him to do any learning and they have to actually reverse the chip. I actually prefer that rather than he's a learning computer. The more contact I have with humans, the more I learn.
Yeah,
I don't actually like that. It doesn't make any fucking sense. That artificial intelligence, unit would make something that would kind of think for itself. It doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. So I kind of like that they have to open his head, take out the chip, and then Sarah sees it as an opportunity to get rid of another Terminator.
Yeah.
And she kind of, and John steps in as because it's good. I like the moments where we see John be that leader, even at 10, because he's supposed to be 10 in the movie. Really just own, no, we're not going to do that. You're not going to kill people. Okay, that's not what we do. Mum, you're not going to do this because why not just talk about it and instead of killing people? He's such it's really, really well written. And it's hilarious that this is kind of Edward Furlong's only really good movie. I'm going to go out. I haven't seen his back catalogue. I don't really know. But it's his, it's he does really well for a 10-year-old actor to come across that good. Like it's really good.
Yeah,
the other one that I like is after Hasta La Vista Baby, the T-1000. When he touches stuff, his hands go off. Like you can tell that the liquid nitrogen has actually fucked him up.
Yeah,
and when he's walking, his feet are becoming the ground without him thinking about it.
I actually you're right. I really like that stuff. I don't know why they cut that stuff out. That to me seems really strange because what it also does, which I find kind of odd, is that with the bit with the two Sarahs. And John, and she says, "Get out of the way, John."
That's right.
That's the only thing now to give for John to make his judgment on the fact that which one of his mums was basically is the like all business, and one of them actually has some compassion, which I know kind of. That sells it, but I like the idea of him hearing the second Sarah Connor just say, "Get out of the way, John."
Get out of the way, John.
And him going, "Oh, that sounds more like her," and then looking down and going, "Oh, it definitely is." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just like the way that invites us in a little bit more. Whereas now we just have to assume that we just have to assume his process, his thought process.
Yeah.
Which is not the worst
those
thing.
two.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
I did for my notes, Nicholas. I went around a different way. I ended up just writing things I love about Terminator 2. That was just my angle for my notes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Fuck.
And that's it. It's a full love in because I think, there are things that about this movie that I think in hindsight I might change, or in a 2020s kind of slightly more cynical environment that we maybe don't need.
So you're a little older, a little wiser now, Tyson.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming at it with adult eyes. Yeah.
And they're not big. They're not things that hurt the movie at all. Like for instance, I don't love her voiceovers. I think they're a little bit. It's James Cameron problem, which he's always had, where he's not the smoothest writer of dialogue.
No.
But he writes structure and story better than anybody, but his dialogue's a bit iffy. And a lot of her voiceover stuff, I think, could have been done without the voiceover, with a bit more of a simplified version of the voiceover. But literally, that is the only thing. I remember today when I was watching it, I was like, that was the only thing that kind of even momentarily made me go, yeah, I don't love that anymore. That was it. That was it.
You don't love that. You don't love that ending. That beautiful highway ending.
I think that feels a little rushed, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. It's a quick winning to end this movie now. But, But I like
the sentiment of it. Yeah. I think I'm okay with the voiceover at the start and the end. It's like bookend it. That's perfect.
What else does it come in?
There's some ones in the middle that are a bit iffy. There's the conversation she has about the Terminator, seeing John with the Terminator, I now see that, it's the blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's a bit lame. Yeah.
And that one I'm just kind of, because I think visually he actually does the comparison really well, because you see her looking at John and the Terminator, and then you see her looking at the
little kid and his father.
And what's the guy's name that they've gone to hang out with? I can't remember. Uncle. No, that's what they call.
No. His name is Enrique.
Yeah, so there you go.
It's okay, Enrique. He's with me.
Yeah,
He's Uncle Bob.
Cool.
Yeah.
Uncle Bob. Yeah, so, and I think visually we get all that information and we can see that internal process, and we can see that, yes, the Terminator is becoming the father figure for John, rah, 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 rah. I just don't think we needed her, hey guys, in case you didn't figure this out, this is what's happening. Because we did figure it out.
She Ellen Paged it. She was like, fucking, all right, Ellen Page. Yeah, we get it.
We get it, Ellen Page. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we get it. Cheers.
But yeah, that's literally the only thing that even I get kind of pricked up about at all in this whole movie.
Yeah. And that's minuscule.
Minuscule. Everything else is just like, that's the thing. Everything I watch, I'm just kind of like, oh man, I love that bit. Oh, this bit's so good. Oh, isn't that fun?
And it's so funny how, like, even rewatching, this was early 90s. This is basically the 80s still. Early 90s, 91.
91. Right? Production would have been in, late 80s, early, like 1990, they would have probably started pre-production. So.
The only thing that looks even remotely 90s is Dyson's house.
Oh, that is the most 90s house.
That's probably the most 90s house I've ever seen in my life. But apart from that, you could say that this was filmed...
And the way his kid's dressed as well.
5 years ago.
Oh, his son.
Yeah, probably that. Yeah,
With
his son. His son's a little... It's got some high pants on.
High pants, big puffy
Yeah.
jumper, and sideways cap.
Exactly. And maybe the computers. If you look at the computers, they're very...
The computers are terrible in this thing.
Macintosh.
Yeah. They're so naff.
But apart from that, this thing has dated very well.
No, I think so
very
too.
well.
Yeah.
Even early, and this is the first ever CGI that we're seeing. This is the creation of CGI. So, and that is it should look rough. There are things out there that look really rough. This does not look rough. This looks clean.
All that's happening now when we watch it, and this is not a problem, is that you can see the compositing. You know what I mean? For instance, but we're always going to see that stuff. That's the nature of what we're watching. But the moments of CGI where it's integrated really well with the surrounding stuff they're the ones that are really incredible. And that but this is the money they spent on it at this stage was out of control. You expect it to have this kind of higher level, and this is the people that were working on it were the best in the biz. I feel like these days there's a lot of people in that industry.
Dime a dozen?
A little bit, yeah. And yes, I think maybe some of it is technical know-how, but a big bunch of it is creativity as well. And
right.
These were the guys that were pioneering this stuff. So not only were they code guys, but I feel like they were artistic guys as well. And you see, so there's a extra level there. It's not you watch those, we watch a Marvel movie and you watch the credits at the end, and when it goes to, special effects artists, and we see that,
and it takes up 3 lines.
Exactly.
Of the whole,
and it's 3 to 5 lines, across, and about 40 names deep on each row, and you're like, whoa, all right.
Okay, a lot of people.
I think this movie had 20-something people working in the VFX department. It's
No, I looked it up just before. It was 6.
Yeah, right.
And Cameron bumped it up to 300.
300, all right.
Yeah, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah. He created a new division, and they for those 300 people was initially 3 minutes 50 seconds of footage of one scene, to make him, when you see Terminator 2 T1000 walking out of the fire after the motorbike scene. 300 people.
Great. Oh wow,
insane, man! Times have massively changed.
But so much of what makes it still last now is the fact that the practical effects are really more prominent than the CGI anyway.
Yeah,
we love seeing the CGI stuff, and we're really excited about how well it works now to this day. But I think sometimes we even confuse some of it with the practical stuff and go, wow, look how good that looks. And it's what, it looks that good because it's a fucking real thing that's real. In front of your face.
That whole start in After the War, where you see she says in monologue, the foot crunches on the skull, and then you're opened up to just this war of machines, and you're like, shit, this is intense, and it's all because it's models.
That's it. The model work is incredible. A lot of the T1000 wounds and battle moments are achieved practically. Even the one where he basically splits in half at the end. That's a big fucking puppet.
Oh yeah, that's a prop. Yeah,
and that's incredible.
In the mental institution, the shotgun to the head, where he canoes his head.
Yeah,
that's practical as well. Yeah,
canoes his head. Yeah, good call.
Canoes. Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit. I was watching it the other night. I'm like, yeah, now your head's a fucking canoe. No, ain't that shit. I fucking love this movie, man. I love it. I really forgot how much this movie is really enjoyable. So good.
Let's talk about... Well, there's plenty to talk about, really. Let's talk about Robert Patrick as the T-1000.
Oh, probably probably very subtly, probably the most scariest villain, just really subtly. Because of how it's the running and his stare. Like he's quite scary, but not. It's beautiful what they did. They took the bulk of the 80s Arnie, like the fact that Terminator 1 was this non-stoppable fucking garbage truck of a fucking man who could beat the shit out of you, like rips hearts out and all that stuff. And they turned him into, he was a slim dude. He wasn't big, but he was fast, nimble, and he was as strong, if not stronger than Arnie. And man, fuck, it worked.
Yeah.
Like, you were scared of that dude.
I think a part of it is that, and it's not anyone's fault, but because of the reputation and the popularity of Arnold now, I think it's impossible to watch that first Terminator movie and experience the fear that you would have felt in 1984 when Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't, like, he was still big.
Cop, is that what you're saying?
But he wasn't. He hadn't really fully embraced that family attitude. Now he wasn't the governor. He wasn't. Like, I watch clips of him now feeding his fucking zebra on Jimmy Kimmel, like, or whatever he's got. And so he's completely changed his public persona since those days. So when you watch that first Terminator movie, he's scary, but it's still Arnold.
It's still Arnie.
Whereas Robert Patrick doesn't have that. He's never really had that. You know what I mean?
He's not. Most people very rarely in the public eye.
Yeah, most people don't know who Robert Patrick is. And to be honest, I still don't really associate Robert Patrick from Terminator 2 to Robert Patrick in the rest of his career. Because I feel like he's never felt the way he feels in this movie. You watch something like Copland, he feels much more like a kind of southern, he feels much more comfortable in like a cowboy hat and a beer gut, than he does in this role. He feels like a different entity, and I think it works really well because you can still be afraid of him because of that, because you don't have any baggage to associate with it.
Yeah, that's so true. You are still afraid of him. Like, even 100%. When you watch it now.
Yeah.
It's the running after. And I love the fact I looked it up. So Robert Patrick trained to the point where he could run as fast as Edward Furlong's bike, to the point where James Cameron had to tell him to slow down his running because he could catch the bike so fast. I'm like, dude, that is scary fast. You are a machine.
Quite literally.
Scary. Fucking scary.
Yeah. That's the physicality of his performance is really incredible. And it's such a great choice. I think with Arnold, like you were saying, with Arnold being this big hulking thing, to approach it from a different angle and make him so graceful and so sleek. It's not just that he is a smaller person; it's also his movement, his assessment of his surroundings, like. He's like the poison dart to the neck, where Arnie's the sledgehammer.
Arnie's the tank. He's the tank. Yeah, exactly.
And it's such a clever choice, really, because it would have been so easy just to say, all right, well, we've got Arnold now, but we're going to make him the good guy, so we need a big fucking unit to fight Arnold.
What's Stallone doing?
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, it was a smart move. It was a smart move.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You go.
I remember hating it as a kid. Like, I was such an Arnie fan that when Robert, especially at the start, when they're in the shopping center, when T-1000 is throwing Arnie around, I'm like, as if you can do this. You can't touch him. He's stronger than you. There's no way that you could do this, And my dad's always going, well, he's the T-1000, he's more advanced. He's faster. He's a lot stronger. I'm like, this is bullshit.
But he doesn't look stronger.
Such a kid.
Look at his muscles.
Thing. He's not strong. This is bullshit. This is fucking get him, Arnie. Get him.
Squash him.
For sure. Fucking head.
For sure.
Yeah.
I also I like how they've inserted him into this movie as a police officer as well.
Oh, that opens so many doors straight away. That is hands down like such a good idea.
Well, now we look at it in a different light, obviously, because of things that are happening. As far as the responsibilities and the power the police have at the moment, and that's another issue for another day. But even back then, when it was less of a thing and people weren't talking about it as much, just the idea of actually placing, using what is considered kind of like a safe, a protector's role,
a shield,
and having that completely swapped around the other way to be like, oh no, there's no protection being offered by this thing, that this familiarity that you have. I think it's such a clever idea. And it plays into that whole thing. Like, you know, this is one of those movies that I think would pay knowing nothing about, having never seen a trailer, anything like that, because the movie tells you, the movie doesn't want you to know who's the good Terminator and who's the bad Terminator until the mall.
Yeah. And what works so well.
It does. Unfortunately, we obviously all knew going into watching the movie because the trailers all gave it away, and you know there was a huge selling point that it was like, Arnie's the good guy now, blah 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 blah. But if you didn't know this stuff, my God, like what a trip that would have been.
Oh, it would have been so good, so good.
So yeah, I just reckon anybody that hasn't seen this movie, everyone must know. I don't think people realize that Arnold in the Terminator is a bad guy. I think I think most people would be shocked to be like, oh, you mean in the first one he's like the bad guy? Oh,
well, most of the young guys I work with don't watch older movies. So they're like, yeah, no, I'm not going to watch that. I'm like, can you please just watch the Terminator? Just number one, just watch it. Okay, please, just watch it. And they're like, yeah, nah, the effects are going to be old. I'm not going to watch that. I'm like, you hurt my face. You hurt my face.
There just aren't enough movies, though, to keep that going. Like, if you like genre movies... If you only watch genre movies from
like 2010 onwards,
that decade, you're going to run out of good quality input.
You can only watch Lord of the Rings a couple of times before. Actually, that's not true. You can watch it.
But they are pretty long though, so
that's fine. That's good.
You could watch Terminator 2 twice in the time it takes to watch Return of the King.
It's true.
What else?
Extended cut.
The extended, indeed, the actual extended. Yeah. I'm just going to see if there's anything else. Yeah, we talked about his running. That was one of the things that I wrote. What do I love about Terminator 2? Robert Patrick running.
Robert Patrick running.
Yes, here we go. I just want to see if that's everything to do with...
That's all right. You keep looking it up. So I watched, which you know, because I told you when we were allowed to see each other in our houses... I had purchased this film on 4K. So I watched the other night in 4K.
Very nice.
So just give a heads up to everyone. When I told Tyson I got the 4K version, he's like, Nick, can you just chuck that on for me, please? It was beautiful. Yeah. In a true film nut way. Terminator 2 being ranking really high on Tyson's list. He's like, hey, do you mind if you could just put that on? That'd be great.
That's it. And we watched a little bit of the opening, just the robot war at the opening, and was like, yep. That's definitely looks fucking amazing, and that's enough for now.
Looked insane, man. But yeah, like the reason why I wanted to mention it is because just the colors of this movie, the blacks with the really dark blues, my God, they look insane. That matched with, it's the subtle thing. So when I watched it this time, because I knew everything verbatim, just like you did, as well as enjoying the action sequences and all that stuff, I wanted to see other things, mostly concentrating on the score and the colors of what James Cameron wanted to do. But yeah, the colors were insane, and that score gets me every time. Like, just the moments that it drops in. And I think my favorite was the start, because it gets you ready, but also the scene where they're still going to Mexico. They just got Sarah. And it's the little kids who are fighting with their guns.
Oh yeah,
I got you. No, you didn't. I got you. I got you. And and John says that moment of where we're not going to make it. Yeah. And it is such a poignant, like, it's, my God, it hits hard for an action Arnie movie. This thing is deep, man. This thing is fucking deep. If you want to scrape, if you want to really dig in and have a talk about it, like, of morality of humans and things like that, and how we're going to destroy ourselves eventually. Like, it is there if you want to talk about it, but geez, it's such a good, and the tone underneath those kids fighting as it plays in slow motion, I'm like, man, this is fucking good. This is so good. Yeah. Would have gone over, 8-year-old or 9-year-old Nick's head completely. I just would have thought, yeah, that's me and my brother. We do that all the time. I always get first, and he's always a little shit. But yeah, for the adults in the room, like, it's insane.
Yeah, it's funny you say that though, but I think I was kind of switched onto this as a kid. This might have been one of the first movies that kind of got me in that mindset. I remember that moment especially. That moment always got me. I was always kind of like, yeah, right. Wow, like, war was bad. Like, little 12-year-old me being like, yeah, wow, this is we do some fucked up stuff to each other. So maybe maybe this is the movie that started it.
Exactly. That brings it around to. Can we talk about the dream scene? That was quite full on. If you as a kid, I remember. It is, and if you have watched the making of, they do go into the fact that it was quite. What's the word? It was quite tense, or just. Yeah, that day of shooting was a very different day, other than having fun and poking fun, which is good. I'm glad they took it seriously. But yeah, I remember my dad telling me, like, showing me he was telling me like that is what a nuclear bomb does and things like that, and I was blown away. And Dad kind of told me, he's like, 2 of those have actually gone off in the world. And we, looked crazy, up Hiroshima and things like that. Like, those, and he taught me about, bombs and things like that. And it's kind of puts it into perspective. Even as a kid, like, that's really messed up. Like,
for sure. And there's something very visceral about the way that they designed that scene. Like what you were saying, these days we would have been doing stuff with CGI. If you compare even a couple of years later to like the destruction scene in I don't know, Independence Day or something like that, maybe, let's say. Which does use a fair bit of miniatures as well, but just doesn't capture that same, like, the real kind of
visceral
fear in
realism.
It. Like, it really kind of knocks you on your ass because you're just like, wow, like, that place is burning up. And it's, you can spot the miniatures now, but the thing that works so well about it is that you can feel the fire, like because it's real fire, it's real flames. There's nothing, there's nothing. That's always really hard to recreate because fire just never looks good in CGI. And so seeing just these, they might be miniatures, but just seeing them burn up and just be blown away by the force of it all, it really knocks you about.
The blast wave, it's the bus and the palm trees that always get me.
Yeah, that one's great. Killer design, and then of course having Sarah Connor burst into,
Yeah, well, she has stages of it. The fact that you see stages of her go through it, like, that's intense. Yeah. That was Linda Hamilton's sister. Did you know that?
In that scene?
Yeah. So Linda Hamilton has a twin, I think?
Yeah, she does.
I think it's a twin.
I know they used it for the scenes where she was doubled with the T-1000.
Yeah. But that was her as well.
Ah, interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, right. That was always... so well realised as a nightmare as well, that whole screaming but no sounds or like a whispers coming out.
Oh, yeah.
I always find...
Behind the fence.
Oh, man.
Such a good movie.
And she's shaking that fence, but it sounds like it's happening miles away, even though you're right next to it. Really, really great sound design, really clever. Gives you that, and it gives you that nightmare feeling straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Linda Hamilton while we're here?
Yeah. Oh, dude. So I was thinking, what this got me thinking about, like, because you've got to think back in, was it 86, 84, Terminator 1?
84.
Yeah, 84. Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton in that movie, like, perm, she was dealing with a lot of things all at once, a lot of running. She was running away a lot of the time. The audience for 1991's Terminator 2, having that introduction to her doing badass chin-ups, and just because that wouldn't have been in publicity shots, I don't reckon. You might have seen maybe 1 or 2 shots, but it would have been of a profile or something.
Even in the trailers. I think it would have been more of a, you would have seen her running around
exactly.
You wouldn't have got the gist of really what was going on with her.
Yeah, because she put in, man, they said they came back and she's put in the yards, like, fuck, she was intense. Yeah. So what it got to me was, I was asking myself as a kid, did I see any independently strong leading females while I was growing up? Because this is kind of in the forefront while, being a dad and making sure that Clark sees a very equal type of world rather than just one, males or everything. Sarah Connor, coupled with Ripley from Aliens, coupled with even the chicken Conan and Red Sonja, even those ones. I grew up with females that were badass and strong. You know, it wasn't all just damsels in distress. You know, your Lois Lanes and things like that. But even Lois Lane, to some extent, is fucking ballsy and would throw a punch. You know, so yeah. But this Linda Hamilton, her performance in this is next level. Was really made a dent. Like, really made a dent, I reckon.
Yeah, and you're right. Like, I just, a lot of things can be said about certain genres of film and things like that, but because I gravitated towards a lot of these movies that do feature a lot of these characters, I never really had that. Like, I kind of skipped that. It's like I just always assumed that it was like,
you never thought about it. Yeah,
chicks are just
badass.
Sarah Connor's going to kick some shit up. Like she's going
she beat the absolute fucking shit.
She's and like you're saying with Ripley, they are the capable characters. They're the ones that you feel safe around. And so obviously in this movie, you've got Arnie kind of taking the more physical role, but for her, you don't. It's not like when it's her and John that you feel like John's alone. And that's a good sign. That's a sign of capability. That's a sign of trust, because you as a viewer are like, no, it's all right. She's still there. John is going to be okay. Whereas I think in a lot of other movies in a similar kind of mindset where it's like a mother, son, and then a protector, when the mother and son are by themselves, it would be like, oh no, they're fucked now.
They're screwed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, she's ace. It's such a change from the first movie. And look, I'm not saying the first movie is bad in any way, shape, or form. I love the first movie, but the way it presents her character in the first movie, yes, she's she's stronger than the average kind of slasher victim, I guess. But she is still just your standard kind of final girl.
Absolutely.
She kind of it's through pure desperation that she survives. It's not really through any kind
instincts.
It's your survival instinct. It's a bit of luck. It's a bit of timing. It's not really.
It's Carl Reese. He's helping a little bit. Yeah.
So it's not entirely about capability. Whereas in this one, you can really see that they've transformed that. It's like, no, we've given her the capability here, and it's funnily enough, but mentally she's probably not as in control as she was in the first film. Like in this film, because of what's happened, she's become a far more mentally unstable character, but on a physical level and on that pure kind of like capability, she's up to the ante 100%. Well, I love how there's not really many movies that do this, in that when they come back for the sequel to show you, you would expect to see a bit of happiness from the first movie's protagonist. But instead, it's like she's done a full 180. Like it's she was relatively well put together. Like she had problems that, like you were saying, any normal kind of, because she's meant to be like in her early 20s in that first movie, isn't she?
Yeah.
Typical problems of an early 20-year-old female, woman. She's got man trouble. She does a crappy job.
Yeah.
She's, whatever's going on with her friends. She's trying to figure out her life, and then she gets thrust into this crazy kind of situation, and she has to, all of a sudden, he has to deal with it when she's maybe not capable to begin with, and she becomes capable as the film goes on. When you come back to that, you expect to see somebody who has grown and become stronger and more kind of comfortable in their life. Whereas in this circumstance, it's like it's gone so far in the opposite direction, and that mentally she's just unraveling in these circumstances that has been presented to her. I just think it's such an interesting choice to do that, because it means, we don't give even a lick of good times. You know what I mean? You watch that first movie.
No jokes.
No jokes. No kind of like, oh, thank God, she got away in that first movie. Like, we got none of that. We don't get to see any of that joy, any of that happiness that she earned in that first film.
Yeah, exactly.
All we get
even
is
just moments with her son, like even just a little something with her son, like, have some connection with John, like a moment or a little, rather than like you get. I'm not saying that you don't get moments. You get moments, but it's never happy. It's always the mission and what we have to do and where we're going and why.
Yeah.
There's nothing else apart from the mission,
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. You don't really get a lot. Have you seen Dark Fate, Tys?
Yeah.
You have? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's good in that?
I can't remember, man.
You can't remember?
No, it wasn't. I just remember
Genesis
being really
and Dark
disappointed.
Fate, man, like. Yeah, right.
I see,
Okay.
and this is controversial, but I like Genesis better than I like.
Yeah,
Dark
you
Fate.
do. You've said it before.
Yeah.
I just wish I could remember anything of it. Like, I can't. The only thing I can remember is fucking Terminator 3, and it's fucking painful to watch, and it hurts my face.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We kind of did. We I can't remember when we watched it and talked about it. I don't think we hated it that much. I think
No. I don't. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate it. It's fine. But then again, I remember watching Salvation and just going, yeah, look, that was fine. Like, I don't really. I'm neither here nor there. It doesn't really add anything to canon or anything like that for me. It's just like, yeah, that's a
I basically choose to believe that Salvation is in no way related.
Didn't happen.
Yeah,
right.
It's easily for me my least favorite of them.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Followed closely by Terminator 3, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe, to be honest. I might put Terminator 3 above Dark Fate, but
because I haven't seen Dark Fate yet. So because of this, I'm gonna add it to my list.
I was
of
actually
franchises
thinking
that
about
I
watching
keep clicking
Genesis
off.
again really soon. Like, I was like,
Yeah,
after watching this, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch Genesis again. Because like I said, there's some good, there's some real like nuggets of good ideas in that, and they might not be fully realized, but I do really appreciate it.
What else you got?
Well, I mean, I've got a ton of shit, man. A ton of shit. But what was I going to say? So what about... So James Cameron, what he's doing in this movie, because I think it's what he's always managed to do really well, and especially in this little run of films, like this mid-90s, early to mid-90s action cinema.
My favourite.
Which is a pretty stellar run. And look, he's only done a few movies, but like when he's on, he is on.
Exactly. Oh, this hurts me talking about this conversation. It really fucking
I
pisses
know,
me off.
and we're not going to get an original James Cameron project for a very long time, which is a real bummer. So we've just got to hope that these movies are great, but these Avatar movies turn out okay.
They're not going to be. Fuck.
Probably not. Probably not.
I'm going to wait, see what the masses says, and then wait another 5 years, and then I'll fucking watch it maybe in my 50s.
That's dedication.
It's just it hurts me that I knowing that James Cameron puts out stellar mint films. He doesn't. He is a man that looks at the minuscule little details and makes it just amazing. We saw it in Terminator 1. We saw it in Aliens. We saw it in this. We even see it in True Lies, and I fucking love True Lies.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I won't hear a bad word about True Lies.
Exactly. Even Titanic, you can't fault fucking Titanic.
Titanic's amazing.
Amazing film. And then, the man got lost a little in the sea. And he just went down and never came back up. I'm pretty sure it's a different James Cameron. I'm pretty sure he is still down there with the original Titanic stuck in the abyss somewhere.
Well, he actually found the abyss monster down there, and they replaced him with a water creature.
Exactly.
There you go.
A fucking a Na'vi loving motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck?
Yeah, look, and
who hasn't seen Pocahontas?
No, it's obviously it's my least favorite film of his. That's fine, but when I look at something like this, though, he's just and we talk about it all the time. There's an arrogance in what he does, which I think is so well realized on the screen. He might be the biggest prick in the world, but because of that, he makes good movies, because he makes movies with confidence. He makes them he chooses what he wants, and he says, no, I want this moment because I want it to have this weight to it, or I want this to be a cinematic moment. And because he makes those choices and he doesn't listen to anybody else and he does it, that's how we get these fucking great moments and these really great sequences. You can't replace something as effective as Arnie with the minigun smiling at John, you can't. That is an iconic moment because he chose to include it, and you can't replicate that without the gumption to no, have him just turn around, hold the gun, and smile for a second, because that's fantastic.
Yeah. Just hold on that. Yeah, exactly.
And there's moments like that all the way through this movie. And not to mention the way that he structures the big kind of action sequences. The two that I kind of feel like are the standouts, even though they're all fantastic, but the two for me that are real standouts are the prison escape or the institute escape,
the mental escape,
and the Cyberdyne kind of siege,
yeah.
Which I think the two of those I think are honestly just flawless. They each go for roughly 20-25 minutes, but you are so insane. They don't let you breathe.
No.
He allows you less in the Cyberdyne one, but you still do get that little moment of breathing before they get in the SWAT car. And then it all goes crazy from there. But especially after the Institute, he's got a really great way of saying, okay, that's the end of that scene now. You can relax.
You can breathe now.
Yeah. Because you've just been so caught up in it for the last 25 minutes. And John kind of throws the little thing away, and it's like, all right, cool, we're good for a bit.
Exactly. I think... I don't know why. I think I prefer that scene to the siege. Just a little.
Yeah, fair enough.
A little bit more. Only because of the tension that is in that scene. There is insane tension, and the score, like it's. I can't replicate the fucking sound, but it's so intense. Of Sarah Connor running around and silently doing it. Like, the tension is so high, whereas the siege is just a flat-out fucking guns blazing. There's a Gatling gun, for fuck's sake. The fact that Arnie just goes outside and lets all of the gas canisters off, just... And you're like, shit.
That's my favourite sound, by the way. You did really well with that. That was a very good impersonation of that sound.
And... it's the details in this, like the little details, which I know that Cameron has put in there. I know it. So when Arnie goes out, he goes to get a SWAT car. Those guys inside who have all been shot in the fucking leg, right? They're all limping to kind of get out of the way. Right before Arnie rams that SWAT car into the doors, you hear one of the guys go, "Holy shit!" and just jump out of the way.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, man. It is pure fucking cocaine.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, it is insane. So good. That coupled with I know, because I looked into it like a lot when I really started getting into film, because Terminator 2, like, it broke so many records and so many barriers.
Yeah.
When the underpass, when he's in the helicopter and the shot of the helicopter going under the underpass.
Oh, yeah.
Cameron wasn't allowed to do that. He got told by the city, no, you can't do that. The stunt guy said, look, we'll get fined if we do that, so we're all stepping away. Cameron said, I will fucking cop the fine. Get in the fucking helicopter. And it's rare that you hear of directors with that kind of, gung-ho fucking, no, we're making this movie. You don't understand, we're making this movie, You don't hear of those things anymore. Maybe they happen, man. I don't know, but it's fucking James Cameron who's got the balls and that, like you said, the ego, because he does, and to be honest, if you've got that and your movies are this good, then fuck, own your ego.
That's what I mean. Awesome. I don't care about him on a personal level, and he's not the kind of guy that I want to have a beer with, but
I might want to just
to talk shit for a little bit, and then the end of it just be like, wow, that guy's a prick. But
exactly.
But at least have your moment. But that's what you're right. It's his ego fuels these movies, and I'm so glad it does, because exactly. You're right, because otherwise nobody would have gone. If somebody else, they would have said, nah man, you can't fly that helicopter under there. You would have been like, all right, cool, well, let's just fly over it, and then we wouldn't have that moment.
Exactly. And it's so many, and it doesn't really mean anything, but fuck, it's cool.
No, but it doesn't mean anything, but it's like for a moment of cinema, sometimes it's just a visual experience, and we get to just kind of see some shit that we're never going to see, and it's like, wow, exactly. That's pretty great. Did you notice, and this is like, he's really talking about the structuring and the what he sets up for later, just little things that you don't even I had never really thought about before until this watch, and then maybe it's because I've watched it too many times that they kind of breeze past me now, but I didn't even realize until this watch that when they're on the freeway, they actually they overtake the liquid nitrogen truck a good 5 minutes before it comes back into the scene. Things and in my head that was kind of like, wow, that's really well thought out, because you didn't have to do that, but it's like,
but he did,
because usually you think, all right, so we need to do a chase scene, so let's have some trucks, let's have some cars, we'll just have them drive, and then we'll have but instead he's like, no, we're going to structure it so that they go past the truck that they're going to overtake at one point. People might not notice it, but subconsciously it will catch up to you, and I reckon that stuff is the things that really surprise me, and I go, yeah, okay, that's really well thought out. And look, that might happen more often than I think it does, but I'd be surprised if that's the case.
Exactly.
Because I feel like someone like Michael Bay is caring less about what cars they're passing earlier in the scene. He's all about which cars are going to crash into each other or which cars are going to blow up where. He's not about structuring the realism of it. Just to give you that sense of believability.
It's more about the visuals. Who were we talking about recently that's all about visuals? More of a visual director.
Oh, I don't know.
And it pisses me off.
It pisses you off? There's quite a few these days, really.
Look, I'm an old man, okay?
Zack Snyder?
I'm becoming an old... there we go. There it is. Yeah, it was Zack Snyder.
I mean, it's always Zack Snyder, isn't it? When we talk about somebody that
it is, yeah.
we get disappointed by.
It's when we were talking about Superman and how it's not about the story; it's about visuals and what looks cool. And Jesus Christ, what a
But in some circumstances, that's not the worst thing. Like, I can watch a movie that is a visual experience and appreciate it and be like, wow, like. That's very cool.
That was insane.
But it just.
But you got to have stuff behind it to back it up. Like I'm. Don't get me wrong. I love Dawn of the Dead, and I love 300. Watchmen, and Sucker Punch kind of lost me a little bit there, only because Watchmen. It was amazing to look at, but it kind of missed the point that Alan Moore was trying to make. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, 300, man. Like, that's insane. And to look up how he set up those shots, he set up how to zoom in that fast and to come out that quick. He had two cameras side by side, one at the far shot and one at the close, and they filmed them at the same time in the same dolly. Like, insane. And it looks amazing. I guess watch 300. 300's good.
300 is a lot of fun. I think the difference is that when James Cameron's trying to push the limits of what is visually kind of the norm for filmmaking and trying to find these new interesting ways to do stuff, up until very recently, it was in the service of narrative. So he's pushing the boundaries because he wants to tell these particular stories, and the technology is required in order to tell the story properly. Whereas someone like Zack Snyder, that's less the case. You can tell the story like 300 without those techniques, but he wanted to show off a different visual style and adapt it to the medium or the text, I guess, and say, look, this text in this medium isn't that weird. Whereas James Cameron, he has to develop this stuff because the text itself is reliant on it, and so he's telling story through visual, whereas I think Zack Snyder is a little bit more they both exist independently. Doesn't this look cool? And also here's the story. You know what I mean?
Which I don't agree with, but it is what it is.
100%.
It's so funny. Tyson, just because I know you're good with dates, what year did Avatar come
out? 2009.
It did, yeah. So it's 10 years.
Over 10 years now.
Cameron's brought out something. Come on, man. You got to be kidding me. He's probably sitting... You know what? He's sitting on it. I bet you he's like secretly filmed fucking all of these rad movies that are going to come out of the vault when he dies or some shit like Prince. That'd be badass.
If only, Nicholas. I seriously doubt that's the case because, I can't blame him for wanting to do that, but he has clearly found a niche for himself. He is passionate about this world.
Clearly. And
he, if he wants to do it, okay, man, go nuts. Like, as much as I would love him to revisit some other world, he wrote Dark Fate. He worked on the screenplay for that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, but, it's... I don't know. Yeah. It means nothing to me because I can't imagine that he really had a huge amount of say over the story because it's just so cookie cutter, the story itself.
Watered down. And,
it just feels any of the originality that is found in his other stuff. Because that's, say what you like about his dialogue. Like I'm saying, his story structure and his narrative originality is second to none. And so something like Dark Fate, which just feels so like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, just kind of this retread. I'm just kind of like, I just can't see him having a huge amount of input in that. Hey, Nick, did you ever play the T2 arcade game?
I did play that. I did.
Me
I was
too.
We played that a lot, me and my brother. My God.
I still remember moments from that when I'm watching the movie now. And I'm like, oh, this is that bit from the arcade game. I don't think of it as this is the movie took it to the arcade. It's the other way around for me. Like, I remember you had to do this funny thing. I don't know if this was the same for you because I used to play it on my PC. You had to do this thing where you had to, it was like a workaround. You had to push the space bar like repeatedly 100 times before you started the level of the shootout in the Galleria.
And you'd get unlimited ammo?
No, what would happen, it would just, because there was no way to win it. It was really hard. Like, it was just ridiculous. Because anytime you would go to shoot, the T-1000 would shoot you, and so he'd stop you from shooting. And then, so you could never get a full shot off unless, for some reason, if you pushed the fire button repeatedly while you were waiting for it to load, you just fired over and over and over again, and the T-1000 couldn't get a shot off, and so you would win, and you'd be like, yes, did it. I remember that very well.
The Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. Glitch in the Matrix. And then there was the, you were like, it was like an obstacle course through the drain pipes.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Through the drain pipes?
You had to you had to like jump little bits of dirt and move, and then, it was just like little objects would come out and you had to jump or swoop around them and all those kind of things. Right. And then occasionally you'd have to shoot things behind you as well. Yeah. It was really fun, this game. Like, that's awesome. You had to do the shootout with the SWAT team.
Damn, I don't remember getting that far. I've played a lot of Terminator games. I know that much. I remember I played the 8-bit one on Mega Drive, which was Terminator 1.
Sick.
And this was... I probably couldn't fucking play it nowadays, but I used to finish it all the time. You had one life, Tyson. One.
What?
If you died, you restarted the fucking game. Like, my God. And you played Kyle Reese. He had a shotgun and grenades, and that is it. Anyway... The other Terminator game for some reason, it is stuck in my head, probably because it was so cool at the time, was actually Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. And there was a scene, it was a chase scene, like it was kind of a third-person shooter. It was a chase scene where you had to drive the car that had the casket in it of all the guns. And someone was after you or something like that. It had to do with the casket. It was so cool. But yeah, I remember not finishing it because it was fucking hard as hell.
What console was that?
I think that was PlayStation 2.
Nice. PS2.
Yeah. PS2, man. PS2 days.
Oh, mate. Throwback.
Now we're up to PS5. PS5 comes out 2 months.
It does. Will you be getting that, Nicholas?
I will be getting that.
Oh, right. Friend.
Not on launch. I'll wait. I don't need it that bad.
Sure. Let me know, and if you want me to take that PS4 off your hands for a severely deflated price, I'll be right there for you.
Hey man, I got a PS3 upstairs. You can land.
Actually, do you know what? I do want to have a lend of that because I have Guitar Hero for PS3 sitting in a bag at home.
See?
And I have no PS3 so I'm going to need to borrow that for a little while.
Get on that shit. Fucking get on. I've had many a fucking Guitar Hero party.
Oh,
I remember
yes.
when me and Sam first got together, I used to go, hey babe, can we have a quick gig? Like a small gig? She's like, fucking kidding me? We're going out in a minute. I'm like, hey babe, let's do a small gig. Come on, let's do it. And she used to always play drums.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
She was on drums and I was guitar.
I love it. Oh, man, I love playing the drums in that. Anyway.
Yeah.
I could talk about that for hours. I loved it so much.
So good.
I have a series of little things that I don't know how else to bring up other than as just like a grab bag of things. Are you ready?
I like it. Here we go.
A grab bag.
A grab bag. I love a grab bag.
What do you think of the use of Bad to the Bone in the diner?
It makes it. Oh my God, are you kidding me? As a kid, I fucking loved it. And whenever I hear the movie, hear the song now, it's, fuck, I got to watch Terminator 2 again.
Yeah. Oh, where's Arnie?
Like, the boots that he wears, the fact that he knows which motorbike is his, which Harley is his, spot on, man. Oh,
yeah.
That's his song. That's Arnie's song.
How is it? I know in future movies they've tried to do similar things as well, but never as successful. But the way that kind of signposts what movie you're about to watch, is incredible.
Yeah.
Because, and this is, we live in a different world now where you don't even need to make this choice, but we forget that you had to have gone into that movie expecting a certain kind of movie if you'd seen the first Terminator.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
All of a sudden, something just as simple as seeing that slow pan up with Bad to the Bone playing, the sunny's on, they're getting on the bike, and you're like, we're not. This isn't the Terminator at all.
This isn't. He's not a bad guy.
This isn't gonna be a gripping horror / sci-fi movie with this unstoppable killing force. This is going to be a fun sci-fi action adventure film.
Action movie. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's so true. Imagine seeing Terminator 2 at the fucking cinema. Oh, yeah, does the Astor play it? The Astor's got to play it.
I've seen it come up occasionally. I think there is a 4K scan version that floats around. I'd love to see like a 35mm version. That would be amazing. I'm going to ask my parents because I have this strange feeling that we saw Terminator 2 at the cinema.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I'm
really?
going to have to ask my dad.
You bastard.
Because he always had to obviously take us, me and my brother, to see these things. But see,
Terminator. Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, because Dad was one of those dads where he was like, "Oh, okay, I'll take you to see your Arnold movie." When he's like, he would have gone and seen it himself if he didn't have kids anyway. And so he's like, yeah. If you want to go, you want to go see this one? Let's go see this one.
Yeah, I'm already talking to Sam about times where I'm just going to pull Clark out of class and go, "You're not going to school today. We're going to the movies. You're not doing that."
Nice. Yeah,
and Sam's like, you realise he's probably going to be the kid who goes, "No, Dad, I have an exam. You can't. I have to study." I'm like, you fucking come with me to the movies, you little shit.
It's Avengers 47. Come on.
It's the Falcon, man. This is the Falcon. Dad, I don't care that you own a shield. You're such a nerd.
Yeah.
Go away. There's a band. Band? Fucking you will come to the movies with me, you little shit.
Get here right now.
Exactly.
Come to the movies or you're grounded.
Exactly. It's so good. What else? Give me another little grab bag.
I've got tons.
Come on.
Is it weird? It's not weird. It's great. But is it kind of weird that this movie embraces Guns N' Roses so much that it features on its soundtrack prominently? It became almost like it had like its own anthem in a Guns N' Roses song. And there's a moment where he pulls a shotgun out of a box of roses.
Yeah. Full tribute to Gunners.
Of all the bands to choose, like it's just like, let's just honor Gunners while we're here.
No, 91 was full Gunners. It was Gunners and nothing else. Like seriously, I remember like it may have just been my family, but everyone in my family loved Gunners, and it was when the song came out, "You Will Be Mine," because the video clip had all the Terminator 2 kind of shots in it as well. It was huge. It was massive. But yeah, this movie does pay tribute to the band Guns N' Roses quite a bit, which is hilarious.
Probably the one element of the movie that has aged the worst, in the sense that I mean, obviously 1991 Gunners, prime Gunners,
mint
Gunners. These days, whoa.
Yeah, Gunners, you're like, oh, Alex Rose, man, you packed on the pounds when you gave up the smack, didn't you? Fuck, man, you ate your weight in coke, didn't you? You fucking psycho.
That's how he got through withdrawals. He just had constant cheeseburgers.
Shit.
Yeah, bless their hearts.
Yeah, I love it. You don't get that in movies anymore. That a band will mash itself with a movie and just go, nah, this is mine. What was the last movie that did that? It was probably in the 2000s.
Oh, like we talked about it when we talked about Spider-Man. Spider-Man had this weird kind of like...
Oh, yeah, Chad Kroger.
Kroger thing. And like, wasn't Evanescence involved with that as well? Like, no, that was Daredevil. Remember Daredevil? And
Daredevil
was really...
had like 3 Evanescence songs.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There was heaps of Daredevil clips in the Bring Me to Life film clip or something. One of the songs.
That's right. Anyway. That's got to be the last one.
Well,
that's got to be the last.
I can't remember it being a thing anymore. Where it's like not only does a song like a band write a song for the movie, but also gets kind of cross promotion with the movie itself.
With the movie, yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, like good choice, Gunners.
Good choice, Gunners. Yeah,
it's a weird kind of. It's funny, like they're hard rock, kind of heavy metal, but they're also kind of like they're not.
They're soft as well.
Yeah, they're not Metallica. They're not.
No,
Megadeth.
They're classical. Well, they came out of... it's hilarious that I know this history, but they came... So before Gunners, it was glam metal.
Yeah.
It was a lot of guys in a lot of makeup and big hair, and that's the end of that kind of era is when Gunners first hit, because glam metal is great. It's one of my favorite genres.
Yeah, mine too.
It's great, but it doesn't have a lot of technique to it. Yeah. There's not a lot of great sort of. There's amazing riffs, but that's all you've got. Whereas Gunners came in and they changed it up completely and made it that it was a lot more harder. There was no makeup. It was flannies around the waist. It was right before it was Gunners. Like, it went glam metal, Gunners, and then grunge kind of kicked off. So, it was that last little hurrah before things got really...
the last gasp of the big melodic.
Exactly.
Big melodies, big solos, big everything over the top. And
guitar fucking solos and exactly. Those things kind of went the day of the dodo.
They did. Yeah, I like the choice. I like it. I think it's good. How do we? I like that the savior of the day is that little Ranger kid that doesn't snitch on John Connor.
I love him. How good is he? His mullet looks fake, though. I feel like his mullet is fake.
It's a wig?
I look at it and I go, dude, that is a wig. Are you wearing a wig mullet?
We'll have to. I'll have to go hunting around because I don't know if that kid became an actor, and I'm pretty sure if we tweeted at him, he might respond. We just said, "Hey man, is that mullet for real?" I think we'd at least get a yes or no. Surely.
I will do it.
Yeah, I think
That's
you should.
hilarious.
I think you should.
Yeah.
And he's the best.
Good.
And I love that it's one of those circumstances where at any point in this movie could end based on people's choices. But I just love that his choice to go, no man, don't know him, is like the only reason we have this movie. Because if he didn't say that, we wouldn't have this movie.
He'd be fucked. Exactly. 100%. Do you know what I love? The massive, speaking of transitions with Linda Hamilton, the foster mum, Janelle, or whatever her name is, that is Vasquez.
Vasquez,
from Aliens 2.
Absolutely.
That is a mad transformation.
Yeah.
My dad told me that. I was like, what? Fuck off.
And then she's the Irish mother in Titanic.
Yep.
Like she's one of the poor lower deck people, and so she's Irish, and she's got the two kids, and she's the one that's sitting at who's like, don't worry, they'll come and get us, they'll blah blah.
Oh really?
So she has she has played various ethnicities throughout her career.
That's huge.
And she's so convincing. Like, you think of her as Vasquez, like she is so convincing as like a Latin American, firecracker kind of Michelle, something that Michelle Rodriguez would play these days.
Exactly.
And then to see her from that to Titanic to this, it's really quite wild. She's great. Yeah, big fan of her work. Yeah. How's John Connor's motorbike stunt double now that we can watch it in 4K? Who looks like a 35-year-old man?
No, do you know what's happened with 4K? So in the shot, because I know all the shots backwards, right? You do. So the shot of Arnie coming off that end clap and then coming down, that's clearly not Arnold Schwarzenegger in the shots.
Yeah.
In the 4K one, Tys, they've
put his face back
morphed.
Over. Yeah, I know.
And it's completely him. I'm like, whoa, that looked like Arnie. That was really good.
I saw that too, and I was like, hang on, am I just being too nice to this? And yes, I did discover that that's the case. So on Stan, they've got the 4K version as well.
Oh, really?
Nice. But there's no hiding the fact that it is a full-blown grown man riding that dirt bike. That is and it flashes back to Edward Furlong, this scrawny little kid, and then flashes back to like somebody's dad wearing like the Run DMC t-shirt and the flannel. Now, what's he wearing? It is Run. Public Enemy.
No,
Sorry,
Public Enemy.
Yeah. And this guy's like, hey, who's this band? Oh, okay. Oh, it's a little tight.
Put this on. Look small. Look small. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I love it so much.
Funny.
It's so good. What else? I've just got little things. I like that there's two dudes who are like,
fuck you, little dipshit.
Yeah, fuck you, dipshit. Yeah. They look like they've been to WrestleMania, those guys. Like they're on their way home from WrestleMania.
Well, they've backed onto a gym. Like, that's a gym that they're coming out of.
They're wearing jeans, though.
They totally do.
Like-
They totally do. They look like they've come from WrestleMania. That's so true.
Because it's like, I'd buy it if they were in like active wear, but it's like, I've got my active singlet on, but I'm also wearing jeans and sneakers. And it's like, it's like, well, you've been somewhere kind of fancy.
Like a massive hair.
Yeah.
Fuck.
He's great. He's
So
like,
funny.
maybe it's just the rowdy Roddy Piper about him. Like, he's got real
100%.
rowdies about him, that
He does
guy.
have rowdy Piper. Yeah. He does have Piper hair. That's so
I love
true.
it. What else have we got? Oh, do you know what's like a really fucking great shot that just doesn't get enough credit, I reckon, that I really love?
Yeah.
Is, when the truck is pushing the little ute and Arnie is shooting back, and then he just decides, oh, no, hang on a second, grabs the rifle, and in one continuous
Stands
shot...
up on the fucking...
Yeah, but it's the movement from the ute to the truck to
the vehicle to the truck.
It's so good.
And just sprays the shit out of him. God, that's a fucking good shot, isn't it? That is.
He does it in one take, and it's such a badass moment because he just holds that rifle and just goes, "Hey, motherfucker!"
Just empties an entire fucking M4 clip into him. Doesn't do.
Yeah.
I love how bullets just do fuck all.
All it does is slow him down, and
you're literally not going to do anything.
They really should. To be honest, they should have been going for the knees a little bit more often because then, like. That you might get lucky and actually blow a leg off at one point, and it would slow him down a little bit. I find that they do shoot his torso way too much in this.
Yeah, seriously. I do love, like, even the little details, like when they're escaping the mental institution, how Sarah's Beretta like doesn't do anything to him, but Arnie shoots him with a shotgun and like literally just stumbles and goes, fuck, that hurt.
It's like if we were running and someone threw a rock at us. It's the same kind of like it would knock you off a little bit and you're like, oh, what the fuck is that? But you'd still be running.
You'd still be running.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally true. What
else?
You know what I do love? That in this, it is the first CGI we see, but James Cameron blew the shit out of that building. Like
the Cyberdyne building.
Yeah, Cyberdyne.
Yeah.
That was a full level just gone.
Great.
That was a full level of that building gone.
That's how we got to make movies, man. Why aren't we making movies this way? We live in an age where nobody's willing to build and destroy anything because it's just like, no, we can just CGI it. It's fine.
We can just see that it's cheap. Well, it's cheaper, Tyson. It's cheaper and it's safer. Just in case. Just in case.
Right.
But it looks
as
cheap.
good, does it?
I know.
I don't want people to do anything stupid and like.
You need to watch Backdraft again.
Yeah.
You need to watch Backdraft.
That's it. Get some people jumping around in real fire.
Get some fire in it.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me about how do you feel about the thumbs up, Nicholas? Do you weep like a little baby like I do?
I was literally just about to bring this up. When I was a kid, I may have shed a tear.
It still gets me.
Anymore.
It still gets me.
And it's intense. My little brother, when he was old enough to watch that, Dan, if you're listening, I have to share this because I still remember it and it was pretty full on. My brother thought that Arnold Schwarzenegger died.
Oh, like the actual Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The actual Arnold Schwarzenegger, that was the end of him. And he cried. He was very, very upset. And my parents didn't know why. And then Dan said, well, Arnold Schwarzenegger's gone now. He's not coming back. And fucking hell.
That's really sweet.
It's such a cute little story.
I love that. That's really
nice. A little kid who just thought Arnie died with a big thumbs up.
Oh,
like, yeah. It's little Dan. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's intense. It fucking sells it. And the amount of sweat and intensity of that last scene, because and they do it so well because there is no way, because he is the latest version, T1000. So of course Arnie, like the series, what is it, 800? Series T.
Yeah,
T800,
he's a T800.
Yeah, is not going to be able to keep up. So he gets his ass fucking handed to him in the end. He really does. But how they kind of do it and how they kind of one up each time, and then finally Arnie gets the last shot in, even though he's not even walking. He's on a fucking conveyor belt.
I need a vacation.
Fires one shot off, and yeah, but yeah, it works. It's so well. And then they finally exhale. Everything's done. And then, Arnie goes, no, there's one more chip. You have to get rid of me.
Well,
otherwise
and,
done it.
I think this is why, as a kid, I gravitated more to this movie. And I know for some people it's a cause of contention because they think all the Arnie and Edward Furlong being buddies stuff kind of waters down the film a little bit.
Okay.
But I think we were just at that perfect age, because now that we kind of had two different versions. We had a version where one of them was like a boy and his robot, and us as kids were like, yeah, fuck yeah, I want a fucking robot.
I want a Terminator. Yeah.
I'll have a Terminator.
Stand on one foot.
Sounds sick. But now we look at it and we can see that it's this pretty well designed and kind of deep exploration of understanding of humanity, and the way certain other sci-fi movies would have this how a robot learns how to cry and all this kind of stuff. This has done it in a pretty sophisticated, really quite heartfelt way, so that when we get, we're surprised that we're watching this balls to the wall action movie, and then all of a sudden at the end we're crying because a robot is melting itself. It almost comes out of nowhere, and it's not until after the movie that we kind of go, oh shit, that movie was saying a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah. So, and I think I think that's why as a kid we gravitated towards it so much, though, is that it's like it's secretly embedded that in our brains without us really realizing it. We were just enjoying that
we were
that
just
element
enjoying
of it.
the ride. Yeah.
For sure.
100%.
But I think the thumbs up is just such a nice way. And I like that they also it's not a big moment in the movie itself. It's not like him doing the like giving him a high five, trying to give him a high five or anything like that, because the thumbs up happens while the voiceover's happening. It's not actually it's witnessed from a distance. Which I really like, because it's a callback to something that feels like a passing moment in the movie itself. Yeah,
it wasn't a I'm going to teach you how to high five.
Exactly.
It was
there wasn't some awkward dialogue where he's like, "This is called a thumbs up. It means everything's cool."
Exactly.
Or everything's going to be okay, and then it kind of becomes it twists its words on itself. I think it's really great.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Dick, I reckon.
Won Academy Awards, Tyson.
It did. It won 4. Nominated for 6.
Yeah, 4. Yep.
This is like it feels like that kind of, that little outlier movie that comes up every now and then, like Inception, District 9, for instance. The sci-fi kind of action movie that people can't deny is so well produced on a technical level. Mad Max, really good example, that you just can't deny it. It's just like, oh, well.
You have to give it a fucking awards, man. It was so fucking good.
That's it. And to be honest, like, I know that it doesn't always go this way, but action films are really well edited. The cinematography in the good ones is something else usually. And a lot of the times they get overlooked for, your typical kind of Oscar fare.
Yep.
But really,
this should be up there, man. This should have been nominated. Fuck.
Well, to have 6 nominations in this day and age, 6 nominations on a technical standpoint would probably lead you to a Best Picture nomination, regardless.
Yeah, right.
It would be pretty rare these days, and that's partly the reason why they changed it from the 5 movies, because when you only have 5, people find it hard to justify including something like this.
Something else.
Because it's like, oh no, we've only got room for 5 movies, and there's 5 very serious movies that came out in this year that we need to talk about.
And they're all period pieces.
Yeah, exactly. But, it's like in these days, it's kind of like there is that spot. It's like, yeah, cool, we've got room for it. So I think in these days, this would have been nominated for Best Picture. It might have even snuck in for Best Director, because we're a bit more open-minded to genre pictures now for directors.
It should have been. I love that Stan Winston won for Best Makeup.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Because this is fucking hell. Those fucking bullet holes. Like Arnie's face in the end where the metal is half off his head.
Yeah.
Like the skin is gone and it's just metal.
A bit I was really confused by, because it's not CGI, but you can see the gear behind his cheek. There's a bit of the jaw gear. Yeah, and I was like, okay, so that's makeup. But it's at the same level. Like it's deep.
Yeah,
it's not weirdly puffing out or anything, and it doesn't.
No. But how did you get it?
How is it? Yeah. How is it doing that? How do you possibly? Is that just really, really effectively done makeup so that it creates the illusion of depth?
Look like
or is it
Academy Award winning makeup?
Sorcery.
Like, fuck. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Nick, I'm pretty much done.
2,
is there anything else you wanted to mention about Terminator 2?
No, that was it.
Is it your favourite of the Terminator franchise?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, it's mine too.
Like, yeah, it's insane. Jesus.
I'm more than happy to say that, if you think that the first one is the best, then by all means, go nuts.
No,
but it's not for me.
No, it's not for me. It's very... Terminator 1 is such a insane movie. It's so good. But this is... It's not leaps and bounds, But this movie, like you said, is more than just a horror thriller. This actually has not only something to say about humanity and what we're maybe about and what we're coming to and sort of things like that, but you're also getting action which James Cameron delivers in spades.
It's, you know, I always kind of try to give credit for ambition when it comes up, and this is an ambitious movie, but really well realized as well. Like it's not that kind of empty ambitious where you're like, well, you gave it a good crack, man. Bad luck in the end there. Like it's ambition realized. Like he went in with this crazy out there idea and said, all right, well, you know how we were talking about robots from the future? Well, let's really talk about what that means. And fully realize it too. And you know, if this wasn't as successful and as expansive as it is, and this is probably a bad thing, but we wouldn't have got any of these sequels. You know what I mean? Because there wouldn't be anywhere for it to go. If it was just another robot from the future slasher film, there's only so many of those you can do before you run out of ideas. But because the world is now so expansive based on this film, that's why we have all these sequels.
That's why. Yeah, exactly.
Which is not a great thing in the end because none of them have been particularly good. But the fact that there is that much of a well to tap is only due to this second film.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true.
Nick?
Terminator 1. Terminator 1 I love, just one more thing. Terminator 1 I love more so especially because of the neo-noir feel of it.
Oh, yeah.
Like the
Tech noir.
80s, like tech noir. 100% tech noir.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. I would fucking go to Tech Noir if it was open today. I 100% would, I'm telling you.
Wasn't that what the laundry was like? Remember the laundry?
Yeah.
I feel like that was the closest we got to Tech Noir in Melbourne.
Oh, no. Man, there was no dance floor as rad as Tech Noir.
No, you're right.
No, and the tables were like mesh gates in Tech Noir. It was fucking gold. I loved it. My God.
Hey, Nick.
I love it. Tyson.
Hey, calm me down. Because we're going to do our next segment. What did you watch this week?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Tyson.
Yes.
What did you watch this week? Because you've come of age. What did you watch?
Look, not a great deal, to be honest. I've had a quieter week. What I will mention, though, is... I don't really know what I want to mention, to be honest. Let's talk about... I rewatched X-Men Apocalypse since I'd only seen it the one time. And I still rate it pretty high despite its reputation. I know that I kind of was getting a little bit contrary when I was watching it because I was like, no, I still think it's pretty good, even though there are some elements to it that I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty trash. But it's still when it hits, it really hits, and I stand by it's real. It feels really balls to the wall. It does really feel like an episode of the '90s TV show, and I think it's really fun and visually pretty well realized. Like, you know, yes, the character design for Apocalypse is really disappointing, and they did drop the ball on that for sure. But there's some other stuff in it which is so good. I think the way Beast looks in this is probably my favorite that he's looked since this new iteration. Yeah. You know, the Nightcrawler introduction, the Cyclops, Jean Grey, all their reintroductions in through this generation, I think is handled really well, and they're great characters and really well realized. It's unfortunate that Dark Phoenix kind of didn't really allow them to go places that they potentially could have gone. I don't know. I just, you know, I don't, and I'm not trying to stick up for Bryan Singer because he's a piece of human garbage, but, you know, compared to, I think the way that people kind of talk about this movie as being like the real kind of shit one of this new series, I don't really get that. Yeah. It's not as strong as First Class or Days of Future Past for me, but it's not the sudden drop off that some say it is.
I remember liking it, but Dark Phoenix was the one where I was like, whoa, okay, that's this is just a Apocalypse kind of had a story to tell and it was kind of going somewhere, whereas Dark Phoenix had its story but it didn't do anything with it. So I was like, oh, okay.
Dark Phoenix feels like the fourth episode of the second series. And of a show that's severe that got cancelled, and it's like, oh well, I guess episode 5 will be the finale then. And it just it never realized what its potential at all. The other thing I'll talk about, because it's a director I know we both really like, is I watched the movie Selfless from 2015, which is directed by Tys and Singh.
Tys and Singh,
Yes.
yeah. I've always wanted to see this. Was this good?
No. It's not good. So it was really disappointing because
Really?
yeah, I know we're both big fans of this director, and I've even stuck up for some of his more critically kind of panned movie. I think Immortals is really interesting. And even The Cell to a certain degree. I know that there's quite a lot of people that don't like The Cell, but I think it's pretty fucking wild.
Great.
This is for a guy that's so very, very good at visual storytelling. It's really quite tame and is missing a lot of his usual flair. I think he tried to. It's pretty good looking for what it is, but it's toned down to an extent that because the story itself isn't super gripping. It's kind of like, it reminds me of something like Surrogates. You remember that movie with Bruce Willis?
Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Yep.
A movie where its concept is kind of interesting for about 10 minutes, and then you kind of go, there's actually not really much to delve into with this.
Yeah, right.
So, like, the concept on paper, I think, reads like a good idea, but when you try to explore it, you realise that it doesn't really have as much to say as you would hope it would.
Damn.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is fine. Ben Kingsley's in it. He's fine. Matthew Good is probably the most interesting contribution to the cast.
Matthew Good.
Yeah, he's good.
He needs to do more.
He does need to do more, and he's interesting in this as the kind of the mastermind of the process.
Yeah.
It seems like I can't. You tell me. Was there another movie that came out right around this same time where somebody got put in the body of somebody else?
Possibly.
Instead of so it was a process. Instead of dying, they got their psyche implanted in a new body. I feel like that was a different movie as well. In the Criminal or something like that.
Oh yeah. So 2015 was when Selfless came out.
I can't remember if that's what it is, but I just feel like there was a little stretch where I was confusing these two movies together.
Well, there was a lot of remember the identical movies that came out? The one with Tom Hardy and the other one with the Lex Luthor that I hate.
Yeah, there was The Double, and then there was Legend and Enemy.
Legend, that's it.
Except in Legend, they were playing twin brothers, so it was kind of different. I think in The Double and Enemy, that's much more of a psychological thing going on. Criminal is kind of similar. When a CIA agent gets mysteriously killed, an experimental procedure transfers his memories into a dangerous ex-convict. So it's essentially the same plot, but just with a crime angle.
Yeah.
But yeah, Selfless. It's like, it looks better than your average kind of straight to DVD sci-fi action, but it's on a story level, it's pretty much your standard straight to DVD sci-fi action. So it's kind of disappointing to see him working on something like this, and I hope he comes back to more creative projects soon. I love Tys and Singh. For those of you who don't know who Tys and is, please look up The Fall. It's one of my favorite movies. Like, it's that good. The Fall came out in 2006. There you go.
Tys and Singh is a photographer, and he directs like he's a photographer. Like, the shots that he sets up are visually stunning. And I'm not talking Zack Snyder. I'm talking a man who sets it up so that it actually colours the visuals of what you're seeing.
Yeah.
The story of what you're seeing, sorry.
100%.
Yeah.
What did you watch, Nick?
Tyson, I had a week of sequels. I started my week off by watching Bad Boys 2, because I just saw that Bad Boys for Life is on streaming.
Yeah, so I did see that.
Going to set myself up and watch some, because I watched Bad Boys 1 the other week, and then I watched Bad Boys 2, which, my God, it's long, but I love it. Look, I know that a lot of people aren't big fans, and it does go on for a little bit too long, and there's some storylines in there that you're like, why does this got anything to do with what we're doing? But I love it. I love the chemistry that they bring to the table. I just hope it's a little bit different this time, because I remember, and it still hits me with Bad Boys 2, that they're not on the same page ever. Like, they're complete opposites. They don't want it. Like, it's all Will Smith's character trying to, come on, man, we need to get things together, sort of thing, and you kind of get over it at the end of the 2.5-hour movie that I watched, which is Bad Boys 2. But yeah, I love the action. It's I know it's Michael Bay, but it's a bit of fun.
Yeah, of course.
The other sequel was obviously Terminator 2, and then the other one, which this week was movies that I was like, was it good? I don't remember if it was good. Actually, I'm going to mention one more. So I watched the other sequel was Mission Impossible 2.
Ah, yeah, great.
Yeah. I remember I remember not liking it as much. I remember thinking to myself, no, that was shit. Maybe it was because Mission Impossible 3 is so fucking amazing. Like it's such a good movie, even more so than a Mission Impossible movie. Whereas 2, it's all right. Like it's not bad in any sense of, form or whatever. It's just, it's an action movie with Tom Cruise and his hair and his amazing hair.
I think it might have, you're probably right. It probably was judged unfairly because of there was such a massive, massive hoo-ha about it when it was coming out. You had John Woo directing. It was like Tom Cruise. He's look at his wonderful hair and he's rock climbing now. And, it was such
Everyone made a big deal about it.
Limp Bizkit's doing the theme and... Was it Limp Bizkit?
It was.
Yeah.
It is, Limp Bizkit. And it's such a 2000s movie. Like, it is, and that's fine. Like, it's fine.
That was the age of Charlie's Angels as well. I think it was kind of trying to...
A lot of wire work.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was just... its reputation comes from, I think, more the disappointment of what it was rather than just appreciating it for what it is.
Goes in the exact opposite direction to De Palma's first one.
Oh, yeah.
It really does. Like, he goes from a man who just wants to get in and out and do the mission and no guns to a man that holds double Berettas and is jumping across the screen, slow motion style, firing both guns.
Yeah, like, release the doves.
Big difference. The other one I wanted to talk about real quick is I watched The Fountain. Aronofsky's The Fountain. So
Intense.
been wanting to watch this for a while. This was a fresh watch. I've bought this film, obviously. So along the lines, I thought it was good. I've only seen it once. I remember that. So it must have left an impression. I don't know why I bought it, Tyson. It was okay.
Oh,
I think
interesting.
I think maybe. I was in this recent watch. Maybe I wasn't in the right mindset. I might have been a bit too tired with Little Man and things like that.
Yeah.
Because I forgot what this movie is about, and this movie is about loss in a hard way, like just dealing with loss and things like that, or the probability of losing someone, sort of thing. So it's heavy. It visually stunning though. Hugh Jackman does insane on the acting scheme of things. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Aronofsky, but yeah, I think I was in the wrong headspace to watch it.
Yeah, maybe. I'd love to. Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I've only seen it the one time. It made an incredible impression on me at the time, but I've always been hesitant to go back again just because I remember it being such an emotionally draining experience.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to.
I think I wasn't up for that. Yeah. Because I remember loving it so much. If anyone said anything, like if Aronofsky got mentioned, I'd always go, no, you got to watch The Fountain because it's kind of the dark horse. But I don't know why I've always said that.
No, that's Noah, by the way. That movie's Noah. That's the Aronofsky dark horse. Noah.
That is the dark horse. So yeah, and that's what I watched this week.
Oh, nice one, man. Hey, Nick.
Tyson.
I think that might wrap us up.
That's it.
Why don't you remind the people at home where they can find our show?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to Terminator 2. I literally had a ball. This was I feel like I need to watch Terminator 2. I'm probably going to watch it before the end of the year again.
Do it.
It was a fucking awesome ride. But yes, if you do like what Tyson and myself have brought to you this evening, this afternoon, this morning, whatever, please like, subscribe, rate, review, all of those things. We would love you to do that. Write a review. Go on, write a review. Other than that, you can follow Nick Tyson Videotape on any of the social medias, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are on YouTube for those people who listen to or like to listen to their podcasts on YouTube. There are no visuals, but sorry about that.
You can turn on that thing that used to be on, what is it, Windows music
the
player.
Screensaver thing.
You can have all the things where it just gives you like those little firework displays.
Colours. Yeah, exactly.
That's all you need.
Or the Windows 95. Remember the space screensaver? Remember that? Space.
Oh, yeah,
it was
perfect.
Just white dots running at you.
Amazing.
Yeah. So if you wish to find out which what Tyson rated his favourite movie of all time, you're going to look that up on Letterboxd, which is an amazing app for those who love movies and love sharing movies with their friends. Look us up. You can follow us. Tyson is TYS_videotape, and I am NIC_videotape.
That's it.
That's it. Tyson, what are we doing next week?
Well, Nick, next week, this is your choice, my man. So why don't you give us the lowdown? What are we doing next week?
This is a cult classic. This is something from what childhood nightmares are made of. We are watching Return to Oz.
We are. 1985's Return to Oz. Buckle in with your hands and your feet.
And your ruby slippers.
Because, and make sure your head is well and truly attached because there's going to be some real fucked up dreams coming up this week, I think.
Absolutely. Watch it with a friend or maybe even, watch it with a bud.
I was going to say, or watch it on acid. But yes, we're very excited to be talking about what is, the source of many a childhood trauma. Return to Oz. Yes. It's going to be very exciting. Nick, I can't wait to get into it, man. Let's call it a night and I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week, buddy.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you then.
Bye, 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 bye.
See you, bye.